Christmas in the Carter household always looked perfect from the outside. From the inside, it felt like a courtroom where I was always the defendant. The chandelier glowed warm gold over polished mahogany floors. A towering Christmas tree stood in the corner, wrapped in designer ornaments my father insisted were tasteful investments. Outside, snow dusted the lawn of our Connecticut estate like powdered sugar. Everything looked rich. Everything felt cold. "Emma," my father, Richard Carter, said without looking up from his wine glass. "Tell me again what exactly you're doing with your life." That was his favorite opening line. Soft, polite, and designed to cut. I smiled anyway. "Working, building, surviving." My uncle chuckled. Someone clinked a fork against a plate. The dinner table was full, but I felt like I was sitting alone in an empty room. Richard leaned back in his chair, studying me like a disappointing investment. "Surviving isn't impressive. Dogs survive. I expected more from you." There it was, the annual reminder that I had never been enough. My cousin Olivia smirked across the table. She worked in her father's company, drove a luxury car, and posted everything online. I, on the other hand, had chosen independence over inheritance, something my father never forgave me for. "I'm doing fine," I said evenly. My father finally looked at me. "Fine doesn't build empires, Emma. Fine is what people say when they've failed upward." A few awkward laughs scattered around the table. I lowered my eyes to my plate. The turkey suddenly tasted like nothing. Then came the moment that changed everything. I reached for my clutch to pay for the catered Christmas dinner I had contributed to because even now I refused to be fully dependent on him. My father noticed. "Of course he did. Still checking your wallet like it might magically improve," he said lightly, setting his glass down. "Go on then. Show us your great financial empire." The table went quiet. My fingers froze. He leaned forward slightly, voice smooth and sharp. "Or is it empty again this year, Emma?" A few uncomfortable laughs. Someone whispered my name like a warning. I opened my wallet slowly. Empty. Not even dramatic, just empty. And my father smiled like he had just confirmed a scientific theory. "Remarkable," he said. "A grown woman with ambition, but no means to support it." Something inside me cracked, not loudly, not dramatically, but in a quiet, irreversible way. I closed my wallet. Then I stood up. "I'll be back," I said calmly. No one stopped me. Not even him. I made it to the guest bathroom before I finally exhaled. My hands shook, not from sadness, but from something sharper. Rage, humiliation, exhaustion, all braided together. I turned on the sink, splashed cold water on my face, and looked at myself in the mirror. "You're not staying like this," I whispered. My phone buzzed. Unknown notification. Private banking alert. Account review coelitai. I frowned. I didn't even have a private bank account. Then another message arrived. Account holder Emma Carter. Status update. Inheritance trust unlocked. Total balance 1 bill 24, 3807, 500. I stared at the number. My brain refused at first, then rejected it, then accepted it all at once like a slammed door. $1 billion. Not earned, not expected, not even known. I sat down on the edge of the bathtub because my legs stopped working. "This has to be a mistake," I whispered. But my phone rang immediately. "Miss Carter," a calm, professional voice said. "This is Gregory Hale from Hale International Bank. We've been trying to reach you regarding your late guardian's trust execution." "My guardian?" "Yes, your maternal grandfather. The estate conditions have only now been fulfilled. You are the sole beneficiary." I laughed once, sharp, disbelieving. My grandfather hated banks more than he hated people. He didn't even tell me I had a trust fund. "He didn't want you to live differently until you were forced to," the banker replied. I closed my eyes. Back in the dining room, my father's voice echoed in my memory. "Dogs survive. I expected more from you." I smiled slowly. "Thank you for calling," I said into the phone. "Please activate everything." "Yes, Miss Carter." The line disconnected and something inside me shifted. Not innocence, not kindness, power. I returned to the dinner table 20 minutes later. No one noticed anything different at first except me. My father glanced up. "Lost your wallet in the bathroom or your dignity?" A few chuckles again. I sat down calmly. "I was just confirming something," I said. Olivia rolled her eyes. "Confirming what?" "That you still can't afford your own life." I looked at her. Then at my father, then I smiled. "I think," I said softly, "that depends on what you consider afford." My father sighed. "Emma, please don't start one of your philosophical." His phone buzzed, then mine. Then the room's atmosphere changed. A man in a black suit had entered the dining hall without anyone noticing. He walked directly to me. "Miss Carter," he said respectfully, "I apologize for the interruption. I am here from Hale International Bank." My father's expression tightened. "Why is a banker in my home?" The man turned slightly. "Because," he said calmly, "we needed to deliver confirmation in person." He opened a folder. "Emma Carter is now the controlling beneficiary of the Carter Global Trust, valued at approximately $1.02 billion. Silence. Not normal silence. The kind that crushes sound. My father's glass slipped slightly in his hand. "That's not possible," he said instantly. "She has no assets, no holdings, no structure." The banker looked at him politely. "She does now." My cousin dropped her fork. Someone actually whispered, "A billion." And I just sat there watching my father. Watching the man who had spent my entire life measuring my worth like a failed ledger. His face had gone pale in a way I had never seen before. "No," he said quietly. "No, that's not Emma. What is this?" I tilted my head. "This," I said gently, "is what happens when you don't check the right account." The shift was immediate. People who had ignored me suddenly remembered my name. People who had dismissed me suddenly asked questions, but the only reaction I cared about was his. My father stopped speaking for the rest of the night. For the first time in my life, he looked unsure, not angry, not controlling, uncertain. And that was more satisfying than any argument. Over the next weeks, my life changed faster than I could emotionally process. Lawyers arrived. Financial advisors appeared like summoned ghosts. New York offices were opened in my name. Investments I didn't fully understand were explained then executed. But I learned quickly, too quickly, because something about power clarifies everything. And the first thing I clarified was this. I would never be humiliated again. Not by anyone, especially not my father. By the next Christmas, the Carter estate no longer felt like his territory. It felt like a place I was visiting. I arrived in a black car he didn't recognize. Security opened doors for me before I even spoke. When I stepped inside, conversation stopped mid-sentence. And there he was. Richard Carter, waiting, watching, trying to reclaim control with posture alone. "Emma," he said carefully, "you've been difficult to reach." I smiled politely. "I've been busy." He nodded slowly, eyes flicking to my clothes, my watch, the quiet confidence I no longer had to pretend. "I heard about your situation," he said. "My situation," I repeated. He cleared his throat. "Your finances." I almost laughed. "Funny," I said. "Last year I didn't have any." He stiffened. I continued. "This year, apparently, I have too many for people to count comfortably." Silence spread between us. He tried again. "Money changes things, Emma. It doesn't change who you are." I tilted my head slightly. "No," I said, "but it changes who gets to speak to me like I'm worthless." That landed hard. Dinner that night was different. No jokes at my expense. No interruptions, no smug comparisons, just observation and fear carefully disguised as politeness. My father tried once more. "You could reintegrate into the company, learn how real wealth is managed." I looked at him, slowly, calmly. "I already manage real wealth," I said. "I just don't need your permission anymore." He had no response to that. None. Later that evening, he found me alone in the library. For the first time in my life, he looked older than me in spirit. "I didn't mean to humiliate you," he said quietly. I didn't answer immediately. Then I said, "Yes, you did." He swallowed. "I thought I was preparing you for reality." I turned a page in the book I wasn't reading. "No," I said softly. "You were just comfortable being above me." That silence lasted longer than any argument we'd ever had. Finally, he exhaled. "I was wrong." 3 words. Simple, but heavy. I closed the book. "I know," I said. Then I stood up. "I forgive you," I added. He looked up sharply. But I continued. "You don't get to define me anymore." And I walked out. Years later, I would expand my empire, build foundations, reshape industries, and fund entire cities of innovation. But I never forgot that Christmas. Not because of the humiliation. Not because of the money, but because it taught me something my father never understood. Worth isn't what people assign you. It's what you claim when they stop believing you can. And I had claimed everything.